Welcome to this guided journaling session from the Reconnection Co. This session is designed to gently support you if you're feeling stuck after a breakup, especially one that left you confused, grief-stricken, or longing for clarity and closure that never came. It's the companion episode to episode 12, You'll Be Over Your Ex Before Your Trauma Is, and it focuses on one of the hardest parts of post-breakup healing, cognitive dissonance, the internal conflict between knowing someone wasn't good for you and still missing them, between remembering their kindness and still feeling the pain of their betrayal, between knowing you're ready to heal and still finding yourself hoping that they'll come back and make it right. This session is here to help you honour your hurt without collapsing into it, to gently acknowledge where you might be stuck, and to begin to separate your grief from the deeper trauma wounds that may have been reactivated in the process of your breakup. If you're here, you are already doing something brave. Take a moment to pause, breathe, and get still. You'll find the prompts listed in the timestamps, but they will also pop up every 2 to 3 minutes throughout this video. Take them at your own pace and know that if you're struggling, you are not alone. You are not broken. Let's begin. Prompt 1. What questions was I asking myself when they ended things? Was it, why did they leave? Why didn't they love me enough to stay? How could someone who said I meant so much to them erase me so easily? When and where else have you asked these questions before? Was it in another breakup? Was it questions you may have had either spoken or internalized for your early caregivers? Understandably, this might stir some discomfort. Take your time to sit with this question. You are safe. Prompt 2. I want you to think about all of the what ifs you have been ruminating on. What behaviours could you have changed? What if I had have done this differently? What if I had have said that? Go through all of your what ifs, and I want you to reflect on if you had realistically been able to address all of the what ifs that you have come up with. Do you honestly feel like that would have changed any of the outcome? What if I was more accommodating? What if I didn't share that I was upset about something? Go through everything that you have ruminated on, get it out on paper, go through all of your what ifs, and then reflect on if changing any of those behaviours or actions realistically would have led to a different outcome. And what outcome do you feel that it would have led to? Would have the relationship been solid and stable after that? Or would you have potentially ended up in this breakup loop all over again, just a little bit further down the track? Realistically sit and think about how impactful your what ifs may or may not be. Prompt 3. Now I want you to reflect on your what ifs and also how you were showing up in the relationship. Were you able to show up as your best self? Was your partner showing up as their best self? Were you having to self-sacrifice? Were you having to silence parts of you just to keep the peace because you had a fear of the outcome? The outcome that you may have been fearing is your partner abruptly leaving the relationship, your partner stonewalling you or shutting you out, your partner blowing up, or your partner just not being able to meet the needs that you were craving. So again, sit and reflect on how you were showing up in the relationship dynamic. How was your partner showing up in the relationship dynamic? And then reflect on if your what ifs were things that are healthy and something that could have tangibly changed the outcome in a positive way, or are your what ifs that you are ruminating on simply more acts of silencing yourself and self-abandoning? Prompt 4. Now I would like you to reflect on the version of your ex that you are still holding on to. Think about how they were showing up early in the relationship. What were they saying? What were they doing? What was that version of them giving you that you've never had before? Was it a feeling of safety, a feeling of belonging, a feeling of being seen, or a feeling of adoration? Understandably, this may stir up quite a number of uncomfortable feelings for you. Take your time, but I want you to explore the full version of them that you are still holding on to, and what did that version give you? How were they showing up? I want you to explore the version of them that you might be stuck on and who you quite can't let go of yet. Prompt 5. Now that you've identified a number of the positive elements of your ex that showed up early on in the dating relationship, now I want you to sit and reflect on where you may have felt like you were missing those parts of you, either early on in your life or in other relationships that you have had. Has that feeling that they were seemingly able to fill, the void that they were able to fill, has that been present before, and where has it been present before? Prompt 6. Now, This might become a little uncomfortable. I want you to sit and reflect on who they were showing up as during the relationship. Were they consistent? Were they able to communicate? Were they able to validate you? Were they able to show up as their best self? And were they able to bring out your best self? Were you exiting your shell and becoming more of you? Or were you having to shrink to fit into that relationship? I want you to think about how they were showing up and meeting your needs, but I also want you to reflect on when they may have not been meeting your needs. Sometimes the signs may be very subtle and it can take a little bit of reflection. But I want you to think about all of the elements that comprised your relationship, how they were showing up, and how you were or were not growing in this relationship. What behaviours were they exhibiting that were either spurring your growth or making you shrink? Prompt 7. Now I want you to think about, what are you still hoping that your ex will come back and say or do? And why would that matter so much to you? Is it an apology? Is it an explanation? Is it a declaration that the relationship was real, that they did feel something, that they acknowledge that you are upset, that your feelings mattered, that you mattered? I want you to ask yourself gently, are these questions that I've had for previous exes or previous meaningful relationships in my life? If it is a yes, when have you been asking these questions? Is it consistently off the back of a breakup of someone who may be exhibiting the same or similar behaviours? Or is it potentially asking those similar questions of a different close relationship in your life? When have you been looping on these questions over and over again? Prompt 8. Now I want you to reflect on what it would feel like if you were able to close that loop yourself. Even if this person never takes responsibility, never shows up with accountability, the questions that you have: do I matter? Was I seen? Am I loved? I know it can be hard, especially when we are in the pits of despair and we are really trying to rebuild our sense of self-worth. But remember, your worth is not pinned on how someone else perceives you. It can be very difficult at times to answer these questions, and you may need to circle back to this to answer it again when you've had some time. But I just want you to reflect on and try and answer again what it would feel like if you were able to answer the questions and close the loop yourself. This concludes this guided journaling session. Now, understandably, this is probably quite a sensitive topic, and I would encourage you to firstly listen to episode 12 of the Reconnection Co podcast, where we explore why you'll often be over your ex before your trauma is. Now, if you are really struggling to move through the stages of your breakup and you are stuck in grief and or anger, I would strongly encourage you to seek the help of a trained mental health professional, because you can very much get out of this stuckness that you are experiencing. You deserve peace, you deserve healing, and you very much are deserving of love. Take care, and I'll see you next time.